Virtual reality is becoming more and more accessible every year, and VR games are becoming easier to make, which means that a lot of indie developers are becoming interested in dipping their toes in the not yet horribly disease-filled waters of VR gaming. I, being the stingy prick I am, like to test these small indie VR games, mostly because they're free. And though most of them either don't work, aren't compatible with my headset, or are just painfully boring or plain broken, every once in a while you stumble across a hidden gem, a diamond in the rough you could say. Well, a long while ago I stumbled across one of those hidden gems, and that hidden gem's name was Ancient Dungeon VR. I didn't think much of it at first and leisurely downloaded it from itch.io, but little did I know that this game was about to give me one of the best experiences I've ever had in VR. For free. Ancient Dungeon VR is a VR dungeon crawler created by Eric Thullen, where you explore ancient dungeons in VR. It's quite self-explanatory. When you start the game off, you first spawn in the main lobby where you will meet this pessimistic old man trying to warn you to not go to the dungeon, but don't you worry, I think I'll be fine. The game teaches you about the controls and how you're equipped with a sword and a throwing knife. You walk into the dungeon and I'm not fine, I'm going to die, everything is out to kill me, please, oh. So yeah, in this game everything is out to kill you, but don't you worry, as you have weapons. As I previously said, in this game you're armed with a sword that you can spawn and despawn in your hand at will, and you also have a throwing knife that you'll use as your primary ranged weapon. These weapons can be upgraded with the upgrades you purchase and find along the way. These upgrades range from making your throwing knife bigger, to putting your sword on fire, to just drugs. Just actual drugs. But what will you use these weapons on? Well, we start off in the overgrown dungeon filled with slimes, small bats, these things called withs, plants, and books. And from here on out you fight enemies, get upgrades, find keys to open cells and locked rooms, get to the end of a dungeon to fight a mini-boss, continue to the next dungeon, and repeat until there's no more ancient dungeon to explore, and start New Game Plus. Now this might sound boring to some of you, but trust me, it does not get old easily. The graphics, while not being fantastic, give the game a nice unique-ish look. There's a variety of enemies to fight, and the physics. My god, the physics. This is what makes Ancient Dungeon VR so damn good. It's the physics. Whenever you hit something with your sword, throwing knife or fist, it's so damn satisfying and smooth. These physics combined with the randomly generated dungeons and multiple different upgrades give this game a lot of replayability. And the dungeons themselves ain't half bad either. The overgrown dungeon is a nice starting place, looking like you're very close to the surface with the grass and greenery, but dark and decrepit enough so that you don't forget that you are indeed in an ancient dungeon. VR. And the enemies also aren't that bad. The bats die in one hit, which are way too slow to actually harm you if you see them before they see you. The slimes are actually kinda dangerous since they can disappear into the environment and are pretty fast. And then there's these plants. One of them is practically harmless, but these fucking homing plants can go die in a ditch. Whenever I'm just exploring the dungeons and suddenly get hurt, I know it's because there's a homing plant like 10 meters away from me shooting those damn purple spheres of doom. And every time this happens, I wish I had some Roundup with me. And the mini-boss at the end of this dungeon will either be a few waves of enemies or a big-ass poisonous plant. So you beat the boss and work your way to the second dungeon. The next dungeon is the Withered Dungeon, which is fucking horrifying. I used to hate this place. The atmosphere is haunted, and the general look at this place gives me creepy basement vibes. But the main thing that I hate about this dungeon is the enemies. There are some enemies like the maggots and wisps that are pretty harmless and easy to beat, but then there's these things. Don't look intimidating? Well, I'll tell you why they deserve the death sentence. They're hard to spot sometimes, they shoot at you and make nearly no noise, which means they can sneak up on you very easily. And there's also the skeleton heads. In the previous updates they just floated towards you, but nowadays they do this, as shown in the recreation of the first time I encountered their updated versions. Oh, it's those flying skull things. Those weren't so bad. And there's also this thing. Oh, what the fuck are you? Okay, okay, you're not taking damage. Okay, that's good. Okay, oh, Yeah, Jesus. But with all that said, I absolutely love this dungeon. It has such a nice creepy atmosphere and general vibe to it, and it's a nice change of visuals after the greenery of the Overgrown dungeon. And besides, after like an hour of playing, the scariness factor decreased majorly, and I can now go through this dungeon only getting 1 heart attack per round. Jesus! Before we continue, I have to come clean. I've been lying to you this entire time. You see, this version that I've been reviewing is an old version of the game. I know, a horrible sin. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this version instead of the newer one was because, well, there is really no good reason other than laziness, since I wrote this script before the newest completely different version came out and I worked too hard on it to rewrite it, goddammit. But just so you're relatively up to speed, what does the newest version have? Well, new dungeons, updated graphics, better sound effects, achievements, new upgrades, this, more dialogue and characters, actual lore. They took off the Wither dungeon, which kinda sucks, but it doesn't matter because they have this cool ass mechanical dungeon, portals, new enemies, your mother, and much more. So as you can see, there's a bit too much for me to want to rewrite the script entirely, and since the game's getting updated fairly frequently, I just wanted to stop, pick a version I'm familiar with, and give my thoughts on it so I could show you that, hey, this shit's good. And with that, we seamlessly transition to the end of the video. Yeah, the version that I played wasn't that long, there isn't even a boss at the end of the Wither dungeon. Thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, please do the funny YouTube things, and if you have a VR headset, please go download this game, support the creator, and explore some dungeons. Or you could go to the testing room, press C to open the debug menu, become more powerful, and